Ukrainian aviation continues to strike the positions of the occupying Russian army using Western-made aerial bombs. One of the strikes targeted a building and a nearby warehouse storing fuel and lubricants in the northern direction of the front, in the border area with Russia, where occupying troops had gathered. The warehouse, detected via drones, was hit by a MiG-29 fighter jet. As a result of the strike, the building was blown up and destroyed, and the occupiers in the area were eliminated. In another direction of the front, in one of the settlements under occupation, a semi-destroyed building where Russian soldiers had gathered was struck with a US-made GBU-62 aerial bomb. The structure was destroyed, and the occupying forces in the area were eliminated.
Cyber specialists of the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine, together with the Ukrainian Cyber Alliance and the BO Team Group, carried out a large-scale cyber attack on the Gaskar Integration Company, one of the main suppliers of drones for the Russian army. Unayan reported this, citing sources in Ukrainian intelligence. As a result of the cyber attack, Ukrainian special services managed not only to penetrate the company's critical infrastructure, but also to cause serious damage to it. More than 47 terabytes of technical information were completely destroyed, including 10 terabytes of backup copies. The cyber attack caused a complete technological collapse at the enterprise. The company lost access to the internet. All production and accounting programs stopped working, and the Gaskar Integration Development Center was completely paralyzed. All entrance doors at the plant were also blocked, forcing workers to leave through emergency exits. Among the stolen data are confidential questionnaires of the company's employees and, most importantly, complete technical documentation on the production of drones, which were transferred to the relevant specialists of the Ukrainian Defense Forces, the intelligence service noted. Throughout Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine and Russia have heavily invested in drone technology, revolutionizing warfare, including drones. Russian forces also launch hundreds of drones nearly every night at Ukraine, targeting civilian areas and critical infrastructure. Cyber attacks have been widely used by both Ukraine and Russia during the full-scale war. Russian hackers have regularly targeted various Ukrainian government institutions as well as businesses with crippling cyber attacks aimed at disrupting numerous industries and government services. Chinese companies are playing a vital role in enabling Russia's drone production, including supplying crucial components for the unmanned aerial vehicles Moscow uses in its nearly daily attacks on Ukraine, Bloomberg reports. According to the news outlet, 92% of the foreign parts found in Russian drones are of Chinese origin. These include electronics, cameras, engines, antennas, and navigation modules. A little-known Russian company, thousands of miles away, hatched a plan to partner with Chinese firms and solve one of the most urgent challenges faced by the invading army: the need for combat drones that were radically reshaping the battlefield. Bloomberg writes, citing internal memos from the Russian company Aero-Hit. The documents indicate the company has business ties with Russia's defense ministry and the military. Its drones, packed with Chinese-made components, have ended up on the battlefield and are being used against Ukraine. Russian propagandist and Z volunteer Tatiana Montyan told about a telling incident that highlights the chaos and moral decline in the Russian troops. According to her, Russian soldiers with weapons were forced to fight off their own Niva from the military police. Read ordinary military men Ordinary men who have several hundred subscribers. They write the whole truth. I published about the consequences of the wise order that all cars, even those bought with their own money, should be donated to the Russian Defense Ministry. That is, put on black numbers. And the military police took away some guy's unfortunate Niva. They came with machine guns and started a showdown. It is not clear where it was, how it was, but they took their Niva away from the military police. And there are many such cases. Montian said the incident occurred after an order was introduced, according to which all cars, even those purchased with personal funds, must be transferred to the disposal of the Russian Ministry of Defense with so-called black numbers, while Z volunteers pretend that they are buying some kind of transport for the front, which no one at the front has ever seen. People are buying some nivas for themselves for their last pennies, so that they can at least somehow transport ammunition, evacuate the wounded. Someone issues a wise order that these people must donate their car to the Ministry of Defense. Montian is indignant. She also notes that if military personnel refuse to do this, their cars are taken away by the military police. Such stories, according to her, have long ceased to be isolated, and it's impossible to hide it anymore, she admits. The situation with the Niva, seized and returned with the use of weapons, is not just an isolated case. It is a symptom. An army in which the military police take away soldiers' personal cars, and in response they take up machine guns, is a system in which discipline, logistics, and supplies have been completely destroyed. The fact that Russia cannot provide its army with even basic equipment, such as civilian SUVs, speaks of the profound degradation of its defense potential. Along with ATACMS ballistic missiles with a range of up to 300 kilometers, there is hope that Ukraine may also receive JASSM missiles. This view was shared on Espresso TV by aviation expert Valery Romanenko, a senior researcher at the State Aviation Museum. I believe we may receive JASSM, at least I hope so. And we could also get ATACMS missiles, ballistic missiles that can be launched up to 300 kilometers from our existing HIMARS and MLRS systems. These would be highly useful for us. The range may be shorter than some others, but it's still enough to strike deep and hard. There are versions with ranges from 160 to 300 kilometers depending on the missile type. Of course, we need at least 10 times more of these missiles to see real results, Romanenko said. Romanenko also pointed out that in terms of quantity, Ukraine should receive at least the same numbers as we provided with the Storm Shadow missiles. He reminded that 150 Storm Shadows had already made a noticeable impact. On July the 15th, media reported that nearly all US weapons set for purchase by NATO for Ukraine are ready for immediate shipment. Patriot air defense systems, missiles and ammunition are among the American-made weapons NATO allies will buy under an arms deal brokered by President Trump to help Ukraine defend itself from Russian attacks. NATO's supreme commander in Europe said separately that preparations were underway to ship the first Patriot systems to Ukraine under the scheme. US General Alexis Grinkevich said there was an ongoing conversation about whether the US would sell Patriots already available in its own military stockpiles. The Swiss government, meanwhile, said delivery of US Patriot systems to Switzerland would be delayed as Washington reprioritized to provide more support to Ukraine. The moves come as Trump's effort to take credit for the additional weapons headed to Ukraine at Europe's expense created mild friction in EU-US relations, with the EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas saying, "If we pay for these weapons, it's our support."